Once upon a time, on the far-off planet Jupiter, lived two strange creatures. Strange in looks, but with a wisdom far greater than our own. Well, you can't expect them to be perfect. Each day, they searched the universe for signs of intelligent life. But alas, they found none. Instead, they settled for the planet Earth. Now, on this planet lived a young inventor by the name of Ernest P. Duckweather. He invented a television set unlike any ever known before. For on this set, he was able to tune in the planet Jupiter. The trouble was that no one believed him. Not even when his friends from outer space sent down a visitor to Earth.
Well, I simply can't wait to show them to you, Deborah. They are the most glamorous earrings you've ever seen. And simply indecent with diamonds. Well, of course, they did set me back a small fortune. But I simply couldn't resist them when that handsome young salesman noticed how they matched my eyes. Oh, my. Oh, my goodness. Deborah, something terrible has happened. My earring is stolen. It's gone.
Well, what's wrong with you, Duckweather?
Tight shoe, Mr. Frisbee. I've been limping all afternoon.
Oh. All the orders delivered?
Yes, sir. I just delivered the last one over to Mrs. Clandish's house 5 minutes ago.
Oh, good. Oh, say, your friend Oscar is waiting for you in the back room. He's got some sort of a letter for you.
Letter for me?
Yeah.
Good.
Hi, Ernest.
Hi, Oscar. What you got?
Oh, this came to my uncle's store by mistake. It's for you.
Thanks. Detective Institute of... Hey! If this is what I think it is. I made it, Oscar! I made it!
Made what?
My diploma. My diploma from the Detective Institute of America for that correspondence course I was taking in criminology. This means I'm qualified to be a private eye.
You mean like you see in the movies?
Yeah, ooh, wait till Catherine hears about this.
Where's your trench coat?
Huh?
Every private eye has a trench coat.
Well, give me time, Oscar. I'll get everything I need. I think to start with, I'll sort of open up a little office right here in Clayville. Yeah. And just handle small investigations. And then I'll kind of spread out to Los Angeles and New York City where you get the big murder cases. Ooh.
Gosh, I never knew a private eye before.
Shucks, Oscar, we're human just like everybody else. A little smarter, maybe, and braver.
Ernest, you think that maybe when you open your office there might be a job someplace for me?
Well, I don't know, Oscar. Of course, Sherlock Holmes did have Dr. Watson.
Was he sick?
Dr. Watson was his helper.
Oh, I'd give anything to be your helper, Ernest.
Well, there's a heap of studying connected with this. You know, being a detective isn't easy.
Well, I can't read so good, but I'll do it if you give me a chance. I promise I will.
Okay, Oscar. Here, start with this.
Oh, gee, thanks.
I looked through all my jewelry cases. Somebody found it.
Now, if you just tell me about it, Millicent, perhaps
But
I
it's
can...
gone, I tell you. Horatio stole it. Whatever
Millicent,
shall I do?
calm yourself.
Well, how can I be calm, Horatio? Without that earring, the set is absolutely worthless. Now, who would steal one earring?
Yes, but are you sure it was stolen?
Well, of course it was stolen, Horatio. I never wear them in the street, and I've searched the house from top to bottom. Oh, and they look so beautiful on me.
Now, Millicent. You just leave everything to Horatio Frisbee. The chief of police is a personal friend of mine, you know, and I'll see that he gets on to this case right away.
That won't be necessary, Mr. Frisbee.
What?
Mrs. Clanders, where were you on the night of the robbery?
Well, there was no robbery at night. It was this afternoon.
Oh. Well, just a minute.
Duckweather.
Yes, sir?
Just what do you think you're doing?
I'm taking this case over, Mr. Frisbee.
You're what?
Now, leave him alone, Horatio. The boy's playing detective. I think it's rather cute.
I'm not playing detective, ma'am. I am one.
Duckweather.
Huh?
I would suggest that you leave this room as quickly and as quietly as possible.
Oh, but Mr. Frisbee...
As quickly and as quietly as possible.
Yes.
Let me speak to the chief of police.
Duckweather on Earth calling Planet Jupiter. Duckweather on Earth calling Planet Jupiter. Come on in, Planet Jupiter. Come on in. Duckweather on Earth calling Planet Jupiter.
Hello, Mr. Duckweather.
Hi, Johnny. Hi, Major Domo.
Hello, problem child.
Creeping comets, we thought you'd never get back from that safari.
Safari?
You know, the elephant hunt.
Look more like termites to me.
Oh, you mean when I was creeping around the floor with that funny old hat and a magnifying glass?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I was doing my homework, Johnny.
Homework?
Yeah, for my correspondence course in criminology. You know, how to be a detective in 12 easy lessons.
What's a detective?
Well, a detective is a fellow that catches criminals, a private eye. Usually hard-boiled, but a pretty good egg just the same.
Sounds like a wonderful breakfast.
Well, don't you have detectives on Jupiter?
Gracious, no. We wiped out crime centuries ago.
Wish we could say the same here, but... Well, Johnny, I just became a detective today, and the trouble is Mr. Frisbee won't let me practice.
Why not?
Oh, he thinks it's just a big joke, and... Well, you see, Mrs. Clanders lost one of her earrings, and I think she had it stolen, and he won't let me look for it. He doesn't think I can find it.
Well, do you think you can?
Well, sure.
That's all that matters, Mr. Duckweather. You just go out and be the best detective there ever was.
Only one thing wrong with that, Johnny. Mr. Frisbee's already called the police.
Well, why don't you solve the crime before the police? Then they'll have to recognize your talent.
Hey, that's a good idea. By golly, it's just what I'm going to do. Okay, Oscar, come on in.
I'm sorry, Ernest.
Now, you take that side of the kitchen. I'll look around over here.
Okay. Hey, Ernest.
Yeah?
What are we looking for?
Clues.
Oh. Hey, Ernest.
Well?
What are clues?
Oh, a fine detective you are. Clues are anything that leads you to the criminal.
Oh.
Mr. Duckweather, Mr. Duckweather, I'm in an awful hurry. Listen, we found that diamond earring. It's in a brown Oxford shoe, size 9.5C. Well, I've got to go now. I've got a meeting of the First Jupiterian Planet Watcher Society.
Why would anyone want to hide a diamond earring in an old brown Oxford shoe, size 9.5C? Brown Oxford shoe, size 9.5C. Hey, how imagination can play tricks on you.
You're under arrest. I caught you red-handed, didn't I, Ernest? Keep 'em up, Ernest. I'm warning you.
But, Oscar, you don't believe that I...
Keep 'em up, Ernest. I'm warning you. Maybe you'd like to know how I got onto you in the first place. It was that book you gave me, Know Your Criminal, Series 12. It said that the guilty person is usually the one you least suspect.
Oh.
And of all the people I know, you're the one I least suspected. That's pretty smart of me, huh, Ernest?
Yeah, Oscar, but, well, this is a mistake, you know that.
It's my duty to warn you, Ernest, that anything you hold may be said against you. Or something like that.
But, Oscar, I'm trying to tell you, you're making a big mistake. Now, listen, I went to Mrs. Clandish's house this afternoon to deliver some groceries. Well, okay, she made me some lemonade, and I sat down, took off my shoes, and that's when this earring must have fallen into my shoes. I didn't even know I had it until just now.
You wouldn't try to fool me, would you, Ernest?
Heck no, I wouldn't, Oscar. Now, listen, if you put down that silly old gun, why, I'll go back over there and give this back to her right now.
Well, okay, Ernest. But if you don't mind, I'll go along with you just in case.
I don't agree with you at all, Mrs. Clandish. Running an ad like this in the paper would be a very unwise idea. If the person who stole me earring will please return it, all will be forgiven.
Well,
Now, after all,
I felt it was the only sporting thing to do.
We're not playing games, ma'am. We're dealing with hard-boiled criminals, and coddling them just doesn't work.
But you mean if the person who took my earring were to walk in here and return it now, you wouldn't forgive him?
Forgive him? I'd lock him up so fast he wouldn't know what happened.
Well, I don't think that's very kind, Chief Brannigan.
Now tell me, ma'am, did you at any time today see two suspicious characters lurking about the house?
Two?
Yes. These jewel thieves have been working in pairs lately. One breaks into the house to make the theft, and the other covers him on the outside with a gun. There's one character in particular, Dopey-Eyed Charlie. Our orders are to shoot him on sight.
Good heavens. I had no idea we lived in such peril.
Oh, now don't you worry, ma'am. If those two birds get anywhere within my gun range, they'll be sorry they ever came to Fairfield County.
I don't know what to do, Johnny. If I don't give this back, I'm a criminal, and if I do, I'm going to get arrested anyway.
You do have a problem, Mr. Duckweather. I know. Reject can become invisible and take the earring right back to Mrs. Clandish's house without anyone knowing.
Hey, that's right. Can you send him down here right away?
Surely. He's right over there, Mr. Duckweather, taking a nap in a crater. Oh, Reject! Robot Reject!
Hi, Reject. Hi, Reject. Welcome to Earth. Here. Here's the earring. Now, when you get to Mrs. Clandish's house, you'll find one just exactly like this. Put this one together with its mate. You got that? Okay, here. Now, here's how to get there. You go straight down Main Street till you get to Magwood Avenue.
Oh, this is very exciting, Chief Brannigan.
Well, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that criminals always return to the scene of their crime.
But that's very obliging of them, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
There. That ought to be inducement enough. That was what you called it, wasn't it?
Bait, ma'am.
Bait. Oh, of course. Oh, I do think you're such a brave man. Being willing to sit up here all night waiting for those horrible fiends. Would you like a cup of hot chocolate to sip while you're waiting?
No, thank you, ma'am.
Well, when the criminal arrives, if you and he should be hungry, there's plenty of cold chicken in the refrigerator.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, Nighty-night now.
Nighty-night. Would you be so good as to snap off that light, ma'am?
Oh, of course.
Who's there? Why, Mrs. Clandis, did you come all the way downstairs to keep itty-bitty Brannigan company in the scary, weary dark? Oh, you naughty girl. Did you think you could fool me by covering me eyes? I'd know those soft little hands anywhere. Oh, don't tell me you're afraid of the nasty old robbers. Well, now you just rest your head on Chief Brannigan's shoulders, and he'll make you feel all better. It's a good little girl. Chief Brannigan wouldn't let anyone harm his little snookum-wookums. Help! Robbers! Police! What am I saying? That's me.
Jack, what are you doing with all those jewels? I told you to put that earring back with its mate. I didn't mean for you to bring them both back here.
I think you're making a big mistake, Chief. Duckweather has his faults, but he's no jewel thief.
I didn't say he was, Horatio. It's just a routine matter to check up on everyone who was in Mrs. Clandish's house yesterday.
Oh.
Where does the boy sleep?
In there.
Boy, you've made some bad mistakes in your time, Reject. But this sure takes the cake. What? Do you realize, Reject, if I'm caught with these things, why, I'll be cooked hotter than a Christmas goose. Hey, Reject! Hey. Well, I guess there's only one thing for me to do now. What I should have done a long time ago. Take these to Chief Brannigan and tell him the whole story.
I'll save you that trip, son.
But Ernest, when you
All
should,
right. Quiet, everyone. Now, let's all speak one at a time.
But now you know he can't speak.
Quiet! Mrs. Clandish, can you positively identify these earrings as yours?
Yes. Yes, they're mine, all right. But I can't believe that Ernest Duckweather...
No, I know he's not a Jew.
Quiet! Please remember, it's not my duty to decide whether Duckweather is innocent or guilty. I'm only interested in whether we've got sufficient evidence to arrest him on suspicion. What do you want to say, Oscar?
Well, Ernest couldn't do that, Chief. He's a detective.
Impersonating an officer, eh?
I got a diploma.
Well, last night we snuck into Mrs. Clandish's kitchen to look for clues.
Illegal entry.
Ernest found a lot of them, and he took them back to the store.
Interfering with the police in their regular line of duty.
Oscar, what are you doing to me?
I'm just trying to help you, Ernest.
Oh, now, look, Chief, this whole thing is ridiculous. In all the years that Duckweather has worked for me, I've never had any
Oh,
cause.
but now, Horatio, you've
Well, I've
never
never
known...
been-
Quiet! Duckweather, for you, it doesn't look very good. Is there anything you'd like to say before we go down to headquarters?
I took an order over to Mrs. Clandish,
A can of nutmeg.
and Mrs. Clandish made me some lemonade, and I took off my shoes.
Well, the poor boy was so tired.
And then she asked me to fix a piece of jewelry.
Well, the clasp on my necklace had broken. It usually works quite easily. but this time it just...
Mrs. Clandish. Go on, Duckweather.
Well, that's about the time that her earring fell into my shoe, I guess, and, well, I didn't know anything about it until I was ready to go to bed.
Assuming that story were true, which I don't, it would account for only one of the earrings. May I remind you that you were found with two?
Well, that part's a little hard to explain.
I've got a hunch it's going to be even harder to believe.
Yes, but now, look, Chief, if you
I
don't
don't know,
give the boy a chance.
Horatio. Ernest,
no-
you know that you
there's
came
no-
into my house and I showed you.
Why, of
Why, of
course, you're
course,
right.
Major Domo! Major Domo! Come quickly. It's awful, Major. They don't believe Mr. Duckweather's story.
Come to think of it, neither do I.
We'll have to do something quickly, Major. Where's Reject the robot?
How should I know?
Oh, Reject! Robot Reject! Reject! What are you doing? I'm ashamed of you, Reject, lying there comfortably while Mr. Duckweather's in trouble. Now listen closely, Reject. Here's what I want you to do.
But Horatio, it could be
Hush,
here.
the boy, have
No,
the police.
Now, for the last time, will you all be quiet? After hearing all the evidence, this is how I reconstruct the crime. Duckweather made a delivery to Mrs. Clandish in the afternoon. Now, that much we know. When he got there, he spotted her diamond earrings and figured they were worth a lot of money. So an idea began to formulate in his brain. If he could take the earrings without arousing her suspicion, he'd be in a position to make a sizable amount. His opportunity presented itself when Mrs. Clandish asked him to fix her necklace. The necklace itself was a little too big to steal without being noticed. But the earrings... the earrings could be palmed with no trouble at all. He pocketed one of them, but before he could get the other, Mrs. Clandish was already putting away her jewels. So he made up his mind to come back later that night and pick up whatever he'd missed the first time.
Yeah, Chief, yeah.
Chief, you just gotta believe me. That earring slipped into my shoe when I was over at Mrs.
There's
Clandish's
only
house.
one thing wrong with that alibi, Duckweather.
What?
No court in the world would believe that any man could be so stupid that he would walk around with a diamond earring in his shoe and not know it. Come on.
Now, look,
I don't want to
Duckweather, I
press
don't believe
charges
you.
after
Look,
all.
What? Chief.
But Chief Brannigan, what have you to say for yourself now?
Well, I've had enough of this goofy.
See, Duckweather, I knew you did.
Sure gotta thank you for helping me, Johnny. Boy, that was sure quick thinking.
Oh, forget it, Mr. Duckweather. That's what friends are for.
Would you realize if it hadn't been for you, why, I might even be in jail right now?
I wish I could say the same for some others I know.
What do you mean?
Well, you see, Mr. Duckweather, the robots on Jupiter have a legal system all of their own. And when Reject was seen wearing Mrs. Clandish's jewels, well, look for yourself.
Oh, I fly at the wings of an angel. Over these prison walls would I fly. I would fly